I now hand the conference over to Mr. Rahul Arora from Nirmal Bang Equities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aisha. Very good afternoon to everyone who's logged into this call. On behalf of Inox Leisure and Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities, I welcome you all to the third quarter financial year 21 earnings conference call. The management is represented by Mr. Alok Tandon, the CEO, and Mr. Kailash Gupta, the CFO. I request the management to make certain opening comments on how they're seeing the business environment at this point, and subsequent to their opening comments, we can then open up the floor for question and answers. So thanks once again, Alok and Kailash, and over to you guys.
Thank you, Rahul. Hi everyone, and good afternoon to all of you. I am Alok Tandon with my colleague Mr. Kailash Gupta over here, and on behalf of the management of Inox Leisure Limited, I would like to welcome all the participants on this call. I'm happy to inform you that the Board of Directors has approved the quarterly results of Q3 FY21. The results have been uploaded on the website of the stock exchanges as well as the website of the company. We have also uploaded the results as well as the earnings presentation. You all know that we have come through a period of aberration and currently are very much in the middle of a revival path, and still a fair distance from the usual buoyancy that the industry is known for. But we are extremely excited about the future, both immediate as well as long term. We are a business where human emotions play an extremely important role, and as a cinema operator, it is our job to nurture those emotions. Let me talk to you about our numbers as I take you through the presentation. To start off with, some of the key highlights are as follows. Inox has successfully raised about 250 crores in November 2020 through a QIP, which was oversubscribed nearly 3.5 times. As a result, Inox has a strong liquidity position, making us the strongest national chain to emerge out of the pandemic. We are also pleased to inform you that the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting on 31st January 2021 has issued a circular allowing cinemas to operate at 100% seating capacity. We would also like to highlight that even during these tough times, Inox was able to add 15 screens in January of this year. There is also some relief in the content front. Blockbusters like Master have already crossed 250 crores in worldwide collection, thus proving that patrons are ready to come to the cinemas if there is good content. And to add to it, also new content. Let us look at some of the financial highlights of Q3 and 9 months FY21. As you all know, all our cinemas have started opening from mid-October 2020 onwards in a staggered way. And also, there wasn't any substantial movie releases. As a result, our financial and operating performances were impacted. For Q3 FY21, the revenue is only 21 crore rupees as compared to 518 crore rupees in Q3 FY20. EBITDA was at a minus 79 crore rupees as compared to a positive 108 crores in Q3 FY20. PAT is at minus 83 crore rupees as compared to a positive 51 crore rupees in Q3 FY20. For 9 months FY21, revenue was only 29 crores during the 9 months as compared to 1,538 crore rupees for the corresponding period in the last financial year. EBITDA is minus 144 crore rupees as compared to 308 crores for 9 months FY20. And for this year, 9 months, PAT is minus 183 crore rupees as compared to 144 crores for 9 months FY20. As there was an impact on revenues during Q3 FY21 due to states' staggered opening and absence in notable releases in movies, we have tried our best to keep our fixed costs under control. I'm happy to inform you all that our efforts of successfully bringing the total cost under control we can see that from the numbers, which we'll talk about soon. On a year-on-year basis, our employee benefit expense, including agency manpower, has gone down from 72.2 crore rupees to 25.3 crore rupees in this quarter. Power and fuel and R&M expenses have decreased from 38.6 crore rupees in Q3 FY20 to 12.8 crore rupees in this quarter. Our expense towards rent and CAM during Q3 FY20 was 97.1 crores, and in this quarter we've incurred 46.4 crore rupees. We have also reduced our other overheads quite significantly during this quarter. They have gone down from 35.8 crores in Q3 FY20 to 12.1 crore rupees in Q3 FY21. In terms of shareholding structure, as on 29th of January 2021, FIIs own about 14.66% of the company. The DIIs own 20.33%. Promoter and promoter group holds 47.38%, and the public and others own 17.63%. The share price as on 29th January 2021 was about rupees 320, which gives the company a market cap of roughly 3,609 crore rupees. In terms of screen additions, we have opened 15 screens in January 2021. Regarding property openings for the next couple of months, and especially in the year 2021, let me talk first about the financial year 21, that is till 31st of March 2021. We plan to open 4 more properties that are 86% complete. We are confident of opening these properties, and by opening these properties, we'll be adding 14 more screens and 2,231 seats amongst them. Further, we have 12 more screens which are very, very advanced, and they are in the advanced stage of completion. However, our endeavor is to open them in this financial year, if not in early Q1 FY22. Beyond this, we have a very strong visibility of property openings based on the agreements already signed. And I feel proud to share that we have property signed up to the extent of nearly 1,000 screens, 143 properties, and 185,000 seats. And once this entire pipeline is fully implemented, we'll be at 298 properties and 1,645 screens. At present, we are operational in 18 states and 1 union territory, present in 69 cities with 151 properties and 641 screens. Well, there has also been a lot of conversation around the availability of fresh content. And if I talk about movies released in Q3 FY21, we had Dracula Sir, we had Sureshwar Mangalbhari, Bescott, Irandam Kuthu, Tenet, Wonder Woman 1984, Solo, Brakuthe, So Better, Act, Switzerland, and these are just to name a few. While seating guidelines got relaxed, I'm very hopeful that the producers now will start announcing the movie release dates, and we can see big Hindi as well as regional movies hitting the screens as early as March or early week of April also. But our guess is that it should happen in March when we see big and marquee movies getting released. As of the entire FY22 is concerned, well, I can surely call it the cinema entertainment year. Because when you have movies like Suryavanshi, 83, Bell Bottom, Maidan, well, I can just rattle off the names. RRR, Valimal, Pushpa, Cobra, you know that we'll have busy weekends going forward, and which is a great sign. Hollywood too has done well in FY19 and FY20, and if we leave FY21 out, I'm sure that the pent-up fondness for Hollywood movies will continue to rise. We have movies like No Time to Die, Black Widow, Top Gun Maverick, F9, and Suicide Squad 2, just to name a few. As per the IND Ministry notification dated 31st January 2021, cinemas have been allowed to operate at 100% capacity. So based on this, we have received notices from Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, and late last night we got a circular from Karnataka also saying that we are allowed to operate with 100% capacity. If I look at these 8 states, we have 68 locations and 288 screens in them. We are also awaiting notification from other states, and there's only one state which has not allowed us to open so far, which is Jharkhand. And in Jharkhand, we have 1 location with 4 screens. So that's the only state which has not given us permission to even open our screens. During the COVID-19 lockdown, multiplex cinemas were in complete shutdown. As a result, Inox decided to negotiate with their landlords for a complete waiver in rent for the lockdown period. We have successfully negotiated zero rental with most of our landlords, and we have also negotiated lower CAM charges at negligible levels for the lockdown period. Post-opening after lockdown, up to 31st of March 2021, we have negotiated revenue sharing or discounted rent and CAM with the landlords. Well, there are very, very few landlords where the negotiations are pending, but let me tell you, most of them are in advanced stage and we should be able to close them in the next couple of weeks. Another important set of stakeholders for us is our content partners, and we have been in constant dialogue with them, we have been engaging with them, and we have been meeting them. And we have been talking to them that how safe the cinemas are if they were to release their movies, because we are following all safety protocols and SOPs, and people are coming back to cinema halls. Well, let me also tell you that at Inox we have maintained world-class COVID-19 SOPs, which I spoke about last time also. And we are very hopeful that looking at these, our customers will be back when big movies come and hit the screens. Currently, our average monthly cash burn is about 25 to 30 crore rupees. As on January 31st, 2021, our cash holding was rupees 230 crores, which includes undrawn limits of 93 crores. And as on 31st January 2021, we are a net debt-free company, and our gross debt stands at only 115 crores. Overall, we see extremely encouraging signs of recovery from markets. As I end, and before we open this entire chat for discussions, all I would like to say is that the core of the cinema exhibition industry is the passion and fondness for the giant screen experience prevalent in the Indian masses. And I can confidently say, which I've always been saying, that the last 7 to 8 month long shutdown has surely not been able to challenge the passion or the fondness or the likeness. And therefore our priorities, our way of working, our fundamentals and our bonding with our patrons would remain unchanged or might even get stronger. Thank you for that, for giving me time to speak. And now Kailash and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking the question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Jinesh Joshi from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. I have 2 questions. Sir, first is on Maharashtra, which is still at 50% capacity, and there are quite a few states in this bucket. So do we have a timeline as to when the cap can be lifted? I mean, is it a 5 to 10 day kind of a process, or it can take slightly longer than that?
Well, Jinesh, it's anybody's guess. We are hopeful that the other states which have not allowed us to open with 100% capacity should do it soon. But then it's for the state governments to decide. We can only persuade them and we can tell them that we are safe places to visit. Cinema halls are absolutely safe. But the final decision is with the lawmakers and with the state government. So let's wait and watch. But we are hopeful that states will allow us to operate with 100% capacity very soon.
Sure. And sir, in terms of pipeline, in the opening remarks, you mentioned that a few big and marquee movies are lined up for release in the month of March. So can you highlight which movies are these, and have the date been finalized on the negotiation which you might be doing with the producers and the distributors?
Well, I said that there are marquee movies that are lined up to be released, and what our guess is that 1 or 2 big movies should come in March. That's what our guess is, but we are talking to various producers and distributors, and we are hopeful that 1 or 2 should be named, and the producers are the ones who will decide the dates for those movies. But we as an exhibitor are hopeful that March would see at least 1 or 2 big releases.
Would you like to name them?
Oh, well, I don't know. It depends on though we are in touch with each and every producer, but it's for them to announce. I can't announce on their behalf. But yes, we will have one or two big Hindi movies which should hit the screens in March.
Sure, sir. One last question. On the F&B side, I just want to know whether we are offering our entire bouquet, or are the offerings still restricted in terms of options? And secondly, by when should we expect the promotional F&B discounts to be withdrawn?
Well, let me tell you, we don't have anything as a promotional F&B discount. We normally have discounts which are there as a combo. If you buy a combo, you get you have to pay less. We also have combos which we make as per the name of the movie and decide something around it. So as of today, there is no particular discount which is there, but we are still having a curtailed menu. And this curtailed menu, I think, will be there for the next couple of weeks before we roll out the entire menu which we have. So I would say that in the next couple of weeks, we should be back to normal where F&B is concerned.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one now. The next question is from the line of Karan Surana from Monarch Networth Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. The first question, sir, I would like to ask you is in terms of, a little forward-looking, in terms of FY22. So does the management expect that the occupancy might come back to pre-COVID levels in the later quarter or the later half of the year? And whether the average ticket price going to remain stable, or you guys going to do any discounts or stuff like that on ATP?
Okay, we are very hopeful that later part of FY22, the occupancy levels will come back to normal. That's what we feel, especially because of the lineup we have seen. The lineup which I said is Atrangire, Maidan, Shamshera, Prithviraj. As I said, I can just go and rattle out names. So we are very hopeful that occupancies will come back to normal in H2 FY22. And when you talked about ATP, well, today, yes, we gave discount on tickets for library content. So when we showed movies in Q3, we had discounts on movies which were already shown on the screen. But then for new movies, we went back to pre-COVID levels. And wherever we are in the country in Inox, we price our tickets as per the cost structure of the property and the paying propensity of various patrons. So a discount will be there only if we see that it's a library content. But come new movies, we'll be back to pre-COVID levels where the average ticket price is concerned.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question I would like to ask in reference to the strategy is because of the pandemic, a lot of single screen players might be difficult for them to run their operations. Has management has any stance on whether they're interested in acquiring these single screens and consolidate their market share?
Well, as a company, we always wish that every cinema screen should be operated in this country and nobody should shut down. But if you talk about single screens, see, the issue with single screens is, and why we shy away from them is, we just have 3 out of the 641 screens we have, is because there is no programming flexibility. So why single screens don't do well is that, say, a movie doesn't do well at all, so the entire 7 days you have to run that content only, which is not the case with multiplexes. Also, if you say acquiring a single screen and converting it into a multiplex, well, all the new rules and regulations will have to come into place, the local bylaws and everything. So it's difficult in today's scenario to convert most of the single screens into a multiplex. But as of today, we are not looking at acquiring any single screen.
Okay, thank you. That's it from my end. Thank you and best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Urmil Shah from IDBI Capital Markets and Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon and thank you for the opportunity. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on with while 100% occupancy being allowed would be one thing, getting the footfalls also would be an important task for the industry, as well as the distributors. So if you could
Could you please repeat your question? I couldn't get it. I just heard 100% occupancy allowed. After that, it was not clear.
So is it better now?
Yes, it's much better now.
Yeah. What I wanted your thoughts on is for getting the footfalls back, you and even the distributors might have to do out of the box push marketing. I mean, the P&A might take more time. There can be some different strategies also in place. So any thoughts on that as to what others you guys would want to do for getting the footfalls at for larger movies?
Well, we've seen that, Urmil, with movies like Red, Crack, Wonder Woman 2, Tenet. That is, the movie is new and the movie is good, people come back. So that's very important. And that's been shown in the last couple of months, that people do not shy away from visiting multiplexes. They are not afraid of coming out. But the content has to be new and content has to be good. But let me also tell you, when you talked about more money is being spent for marketing, I think that will not be the case, because today we all do digital marketing, we do strategizing where we've got a loyal base of customers whom we can target directly. But marketing, I think, will change in a way. Rather than promoting a movie for the next couple of months, we all will be promoting how safe it is to visit cinema halls. So the strategy, whether it's the exhibitor or the producer or the distributor, will slightly change for some time. And that, I think, is a good sign, because, as I always say, that the main thing for us is to win back the confidence of our guests who come to us. So I don't think that there will be a major increase in the P&A cost. People will come out, and it's a matter of time when new movies are announced and people are there back to cinema halls.
Sure. And the lineup of the Hollywood movies which you have shared look impressive. Given that there are still, if it can be termed as a second wave globally, would it be safe to assume that the Hollywood content might actually meaningfully come only in the second half?
Well, when you talk about second wave, I doubt if it ever happens, and we keep our fingers crossed that it should not happen in India at all. But abroad, where part of US is shut and UK is shut, it's a matter of time also before they open up. And there are some movies which have already announced their dates. I would say 4 or 5 movies have announced their dates. I'm talking about Hollywood movies. The others have not. So I'm hopeful that as soon as the restriction in those countries are lifted, these Hollywood movies will be released, and we'll get to see them in India also, which will be a dated release internationally.
Sure. So, and just last part on the key cost, when we are talking about 100% occupancy, or we being ready for that kind of level, what should be the lower cost we should factor in versus normal operations in FY20?
Well, let me say that if I look at our pre-COVID monthly average expense, that was about 80 to 85 crores every month. That was pre-COVID levels. Now, with all the work we have done, the way we have looked at every line item where P&L is concerned, where manpower is concerned, where the new ways of saving electricity expenditure is concerned, I think we will see some reduction in our costs, even when we go back to 100% capacity utilization. So it's too early, too premature to talk about it. But I think, Urmil, we will see some cost reduction in the next couple of quarters as we speak.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Dipesh Kashyap from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for taking my questions. Sir, based on your experience with Movie Master, can you give some color on how are the occupancies, ticket prices, and spend per head for these shows? And what, in your opinion, will be the break-even occupancy levels now given the cost cuts? Thank you.
Well, if Master it broke all possible records. We had for 10 days nearly 100% occupancy. When I talk about 100% means every alternate seat occupied.
Correct.
There were states down south, or there were cities and Inox properties where as soon as the advance used to open, all tickets used to get sold. So that's something which is a very heartening sign that couple of days, every show house full. ATP, yes, you know that Tamil Nadu, we have got a restriction on ticket pricing, so that was capped. But in other states, whether it was Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh, we went to pre-COVID levels where our average ticket price was concerned. But we had great footfalls, and if that's a sign to go by, it's a matter of time before we see the same thing when Hindi movies are released.
And how was the spend per head, sir? Was there any reduction in that?
Oh, well, with spend per head, it was no reduction. I can say it was pre-COVID levels wherever Master ran in that particular cinema hall. So that was another positive sign that people did not again shy away from buying food. They purchased food, and even the strike rate went up. Even the strike rate went up because there were a lot of family crowd which was coming to watch this movie.
Understood. And sir, the producers and distributors of the movie Master clearly seem to have broken the 8-week theatrical window understanding with the exhibitors. So just wanted to ask, was there any reduction in the distributor share of the net box office collections for this movie? Because clearly they had a win-win for the box office collection and the OTT release collection, right? And are the upcoming movies also negotiating this 8-week window with you?
Well, let me talk about Master first. Yes, it hit the OTT, and so we have had a discussion on the terms, and which it'll not be good for me to talk about the terms and everything which we've had, but yes, it's been a reduction where exhibitors are concerned, and especially Inox. I can talk about Inox, and what we know is that we paid lower terms for that. For upcoming movies, there's been no such discussion of movie hitting the OTT screens in a couple of weeks after it's hit the big screen. So no discussion on that as of now.
Can you just quantify how much the distribution share went down in that movie?
Not, as I said, I cannot talk about that number, but yes, it was a substantial reduction.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, sir. All the best.
Thank you. We would request the participants to please press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Devansh Kalra from Perpetuity Ventures. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So my question is, sir, I wanted to understand what are the things which are you guys doing its strategy in to tackle, to attract the customers, because we are very much clear on the supply side. There are a lot of good movies coming up, we named in the commentary. But I wanted to understand the demand side. How are we strategizing to attract customers? Or how are you strategizing them? Yeah. Sure.
Okay. The main thing to attract customers is that we have got a loyalty card base, and that loyalty base is increasing by every week as we speak today. So we have special offers for our loyalty customers to come and watch a movie with us. Number two, we are doing a lot of private screening where people can take an entire hall at a substantially low rate and enjoy with their family and friends and look at food also. We are tying up with various sports channels to ensure that we show matches on the screen, which can be viewed by everyone, or you can even hire the auditorium to have a look and enjoy with your family. So we are doing various steps where marketing is concerned. We are celebrating birthdays, we are celebrating anniversaries, we are celebrating get-togethers, and also looking at alternate content. I know that schools have not opened, but our endeavor is that we have got a library of National Geographic movies and IMAX documentaries, which pre-COVID level we used to go to schools and encourage school children to come and watch those movies with us, and we will be doing that soon once the schools open. So we are doing a lot of stuff where marketing is concerned. We are sending them emailers. We are sending our regular guests messages on WhatsApp after their permission, obviously, that we are allowed to send them messages. We are using our Instagram, our Twitter handle, and our Facebook page to advertise about various movies and any offer which we have with various banks, and here I'm talking about credit cards, so that people can come and utilize those things. So a lot of marketing initiatives being taken in various fronts to ensure that people come back.
Okay. So this, all these strategies will be very helpful for the company in the shorter term. But the thing, let me give an example. Like people coming, booking an entire screen and watching with the family or other things. So about longer term, I wanted to understand the strategy from a 5 years.
Loyalty is a longer term. It's not a shorter term. Having your customers talking to them on social media is a longer term. It's not a shorter term. It is both. Having people take auditoriums, we could continue for that also when COVID is not there. So it's a new form. It's a new way of getting in people that we are looking at, and this will continue, Devansh. I don't think that this will ever go away.
Okay. So yes. And so, So if you see the entertainment industry, specifically the movie industry, compare it with 2015, 5 years back. So there has been OTT disruption. That is one thing. But what kind of changes can you foresee over the next 5 years? Because so it was very much better 5 years back than now. I just wanted your thoughts. How do you see it evolving?
It was better 5 years back.
In terms of competition from the supply side. The OTT platform is a newer way of.
Let me correct you. I don't think you're right when you say it was better 5 years back. I think it's better now. Look at the formats we have. Look at how we pamper our guests. Look at the number of the megaplexes which we have made at Inox, which includes all possible formats under one roof. Be it IMAX, be it Insignia, be it Kiddles, be it MX4D, LED projectors, a ScreenX. We're the first chain to have a ScreenX where you can watch a movie on the side walls also. So I do not agree with your statement that cinema viewing was better, the industry was better 5 years back.
So I was just talking about competition. I was talking in terms of competition.
But let me tell you about OTT also. The OTT is, let us not compare theatre. When I say theatre, means cinema halls and OTT. It's not either or. It's and. And today I would say that it's a different content we consume on OTT. What we consume on OTT is like a docudrama, a documentary, or an old movie if we have missed it out in a cinema hall. It's not that with the advent of OTT, people have stopped going to the halls. Yes, for the last 8 months as halls were stopped. And there was this aberration that people continued to watch OTT. But once new movies come, people will be back. And let me also tell you, a content creator, most of them make a movie for the larger screen. Talent, I feel, I'm not an actor or anybody, but I think talent would also like them to be appreciated and seen on a larger screen rather than on a small 6-inch mobile or on an iPad. So things are different. And what I feel also is that once pandemic subsides, once vaccines becomes available, content flow gets back to normal, we believe, Devyansh, that the movie ecosystem would adapt itself back to the age-old windowing system, and people will release their movies first on the large screen, and then only it will go to OTT or satellite. And I'm quite sure about that will happen. Because let me also add to it. Let me also tell you that as a fundamental aspect of the cinema value chain, the windowing pattern has always done wonders in terms of revenues for the content creator and other stakeholders, as it offers the creator an opportunity to extract the best from all forms, whether it is cinema, OTT or satellite. What's also happened is that the content which is getting made these days has become very edgier. It's suave. We have got a new breed of directors, actors, cinematographers. And I would say that the quality of content has really increased. So, yes, OTT, I would say, has helped where quality is concerned. But both cinema hall and OTT platforms will coexist.
Yeah, okay. So last smaller thing. Sir, can you share the percentage of the loyal customers who are buying premium passes, the way you have designed the product? So what is that proportion? share that number?
I heard you want to know the percentage of loyal customers in the last couple of months?
Yeah. So the customers having long-term passes, yeah.
Well, let me tell you that today it's mandatory for every customer from our team to request that gentleman or that lady to share their telephone number. Also, as I would say, 99.99% of our ticket transaction is digital because we are encouraging digital transaction whether at the box office or the F&B counter. We have telephone numbers of our guests and we ask them that whether they would like to be enrolled in the loyalty program, and let me tell you, most of them have said yes to it. So I would not be able to give you exact numbers about the number of people we have, but we can surely say that it's increasing.
Proportion will be fine in terms of percentages. See how much are one-time tickets.
Let me tell you that after pandemic, we have nearly 95 to 98% people have enrolled for the loyalty program.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Saugat Chatterjee from BNP Paribas Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Just one quick question on the private screening and the sports screening which you mentioned. So what kind of margin do you like take away from this business, and what kind of demand have you seen as the screening capacity is gradually increasing?
So let me tell you, the demand is enormous. We have had hundreds of screenings till now, which have been taken by families. Whether it's I wouldn't call it a group, I won't call a couple of group, but whether it's 2 people or whether it's 20 people. So people have taken screens. Demand is enormous. I think that this is something which was a discovery during the COVID period, that how do we get in more people, and this is something which we discussed in the internal team meetings, and we said let's try it out, and that's really been a success. So when you talk about margins, see, as it is, there are hardly any footfalls today. So and no hall is going full. So everything which comes adds to the kitty on the top line as well as the EBITDA. And going forward, we'll have to see that number one, that we keep this going, because this, as I said earlier, is not going anywhere. Private screening will stay. And how do we make it more better for the guest is something which we're working on. Today, we've got special menus curated for block bookings and private screenings. Today, whatever they ask us to make, we do it, and we ensure that any requirement which comes about 24 hours before the scheduled screening, we go out of the way to ensure that it is there for the guest. Any decoration they want inside, a birthday party celebration, an anniversary celebration, we do all that, whether it's inside the cinema hall or in the lobby. So overall, the experience is fantastic, and people are coming back to us asking for that. What else can we do? And there are times when we sit together with families and decide how it should be done inside the auditorium to celebrate their special occasion. So Saugat, this is not going anywhere, and a lot of demand for private screening and bulk bookings going forward also.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Anurag Dayal from HSBC. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I'm audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my question, sir. My question is little on the medium to long-term perspective. So there is a clear adoption of digital we have seen across the consumer segments, which has further got pushed because of COVID-19. So what I see is definitely some cannibalization of content as well as some consumers because of that. So in the future, how do you perceive how you will be addressing this issue? Is there any plans how to address these digital customers, maybe creating more digital content? I'm not sure how to do it, but is there anything back of your mind?
Well, as I said, that our job is to deculture a guest and to ensure that he gets to view a movie in different formats, any format he wants to see. And I just said those names as IMAX, LEDs, projection, whether it's an Insignia, Kiddles, ScreenX, whatever it is. So, and also, he can watch the same movie in two different formats, which we have seen in our megaplexes, that people come on different days to watch the same movie in different formats. And that is the real beauty of us investing in those capital-heavy items, because the return is there. And when you talk about cannibalization of content, I just said that the content is different for an OTT and different for a theater. You have documentaries, web series, you have various other formats or things you want to see on an OTT, or catch up with a movie which you have missed in a cinema hall. So I don't think that a cannibalization, yes, a guy may not read a book or he may do something else, but where watching a movie is concerned or watching his various web series is concerned on OTT, he will take out time for that. And also with big stars and big directors, producers, I think they would like their movies to first hit the giant screen rather than the OTT platform. And that's my view, and that I think will stay. And nothing will change that. So there won't be cannibalization. Yes, new content will come. It will be better. It will be much more, I would say, edgier, made well. It'll have a sophisticated production values in that. So all that will be there. But I doubt whether it will cannibalize. I don't think.
Okay, so my question was more into it that do you think that in future, the multiplexes also will have their own, similar to something like OTT kind of platform?
Well, I'm not a content creator and I don't want to buy content. For me, that's my platform. Why should I go into a small screen when I've got a giant screen? So I think I can talk about INOX. I can't talk about other chains, but for INOX, 100%. We'll stay in this business of pampering our guests, of having luxury, technology and service as a pillar of our service, and ensuring that they watch the movie on a big screen.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Kumar from Infinity Alternative. Please go ahead.
Thanks, and thanks for taking my question, and congratulations for navigating through the perfect storm. Just wanted to understand your perspective around consolidation of the industry, especially some of the smaller multiplex chains. Do you think that's imminent? How would INOX want to play on it? Would it be more aggressive, given the fact that it has always had the best balance sheet within the multiplex space? How do you see that kind of play out?
Ashish, I've always said that we have never shied away from acquiring another company or consolidation. We were the first in the entire cinema business to acquire another company, which was CCPL of West Bengal way back in 2006-2007, followed by Fame India Limited 2010 and Satyam of Delhi in 2014. So, as of today, yes, it's tough time for everybody. Consolidation, if it comes at the right price, and I don't know, you'll ask me, your next question will be what the right price is, but I can't answer that. We will surely look at it. But as of today, there's nothing on the cards at all. There is nothing on the cards as we speak. But as I said, we'll never ever shy away from acquiring another company or going in for inorganic expansion.
Okay, right. Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prasanna Surturia from Validus Wealth. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Two questions. So maybe just a little bit more on the OTTs from the previous participant's question. We understand that we should not enter their space, but is there a way where both of us or both of you rather can mutually sort of benefit from the content that is being created by them that can be showcased at your screen, and maybe that can also pull in patrons over a longer period of time? Is that something that can be sort of looked into over a period of time?
Well, let me tell you that what we show on our screens has to be certified by the censor board. I cannot show anything which is not censored. So, and what you were saying, but the content is totally different. If the content of the OTT people, see again, they also buy content from somebody else. unless it's a web series made internally by that particular OTT chain. But otherwise, they have to buy. And if a person had to show the movie on a giant screen, he would have not gone to OTT, he would have gone to a cinema hall straight away. So that's one thing which I would like to say. Showing web series, if you're talking about web series on a big screen, we'll have to see that how it is. If it's censored, we'll take a call. If it's not censored, there is no way that we can show it. So it's a thing which will be decided as and when it happens. Today it's just hypothetical. I can't even answer or say yes or no to it.
Okay, because a lot of OTT people are actually creating these newer content just to sort of onboard people, right? I mean, we understand that it's a cash burn business model and they want to get more and more people onboarded, and that's why they are doing maybe a lot of content which cannot be shown without censoring, and that's what they want to attract the eyeballs and all. But I think over a period of time, and they are also creating a lot of movies. It's not just web series, but a lot of movies which can actually over a period of time could be shown at your theaters as well. So that was, I think, my understanding. And the other one was in the presentation you have said that you have a pipeline of close to 1,000 screens post FY21.
Yes.
So what is the timeline that we are looking at? That is, in how many sort of years is that timeline going to be achieved? And what is the geographical focus that we would be having for those 1,000 screens?
Okay, geographical focus is pan-India. So it's everywhere, north, east, south, west, central. The expansion is everywhere. As we always say that we're a pan-India player. We're not a region-centric player. We're a pan-India player, and if we get a good location, we are more than willing to set up a cinema. How many years it will take? Well, it will take a few more years. Reason being that our best year has been opening 85 screens in one financial year. But then going forward, we are ready to open 120, 130 screens also, because what we have to do is just ramp up our projection team, our projects team and our design team, and we are ready to deliver. But the question is whether we will get so many properties from the developers or not. So that's another thing. But I would say in the next 6 to 7 years, if not earlier, we should be opening another 1,000 screens this year.
Okay, and just maybe a follow-up on that. So, if that is over a period of 6 to 7 years, and we have seen and we have read reports in the media saying that a lot of single-screen theaters have sort of shut shop because of the lack of business in the last 1 year, rather 10 months. Is there any opportunity in that space, and are there any regulatory sort of limits as to whether we can go in and sort of? My question is more like, if you have a single-screen theater and a plot of land, can you actually go and buy that plot of land and build multiple screens in that space rather than waiting for a developer to develop a mall and then have your presence in that mall?
Right. I think you were not there on the call when I answered that question. The single screen, what prohibits them from doing well is the way the programming is done, because you cannot program more than 1 or 2 titles. You can't have shows starting after every 30 or 40 minutes. So let's say if that one movie does not do well, you don't have footfalls coming in. So what kills single screens is the flexibility of programming, which unfortunately nothing can be done. And as you said that if you buy a plot of land and construct, please remember these single screens are today in areas which are very, very congested. And today we have to make a new cinema hall. We have to follow all the local, state and the municipal rules and regulations and all the bylaws. So hence it becomes very difficult for a single screen area complex to be converted into a multiplex. Not that they have not been done, but there are very few, and a handful of them, single screen properties which have been converted into multiplexes. But otherwise, it looks very difficult that single screens can be converted into multiplexes.
So no chances of any changes in these regulations where the programming and all can be sort of...
Again, I can't talk about changes in regulations, because regulations are only becoming stringent and stricter rather than more lenient, and which is good also. So we'll have to follow those if we look at doing something with a single screen.
Okay, got it. If I have any questions, I'll come back. Thanks.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. As there are no further questions, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Rahul Arora for closing comments.
Thanks, Aisha. Thank you so much, Alokji and Kailash for giving us this opportunity to host the call and for your valuable insights on the quarterly results. And to all the participants who logged in and actively participated as well, thank you so much for taking time out to be on this call.
Thanks a lot. Thanks to everyone for taking interest in our company, and hope to interact with all of you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. On behalf of Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.